started?
See, I did. I tagged friends. I think I tagged them. The people that I tagged.
Oh.
It started. Did you get the tag?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, it's people coming. It is people coming. Hi guys, come on in. Come on in. Uh-oh. It's reading. Did you start it?
I'm just in. I joined. They coming in, no? I want to tag people. So let me get out of it.
Well, you get out of the while I sit down because people coming in trying to figure out what's going on. Hi guys, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Let me fix my shirt. Welcome. So we are getting started. Chantel trying to figure out how to do the watch party. I guess we should have figured this out before we went live. But y'all bear with us because we're not the most technically savvy people. So can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? I hope y'all can.
I don't know.
Hold on. Well, just come and sit down, daughter. Just join it. We were trying to start a watch party, so if anybody know how to start it, put it in the comments because we are not absolutely sure.
Not at all.
So trying to start a watch party, so if anybody,
The volume all the way down on mine, so there's no
So.
echo.
all right.
I need you.
So yes. I think that this is gonna be fun. So come on in. We are going to share some things. We're going to share who we are, talk about the purpose of this, why we're doing it. And so, let me fix my shirt. It's always me. It's always me. So Chantel finally made it. But if anybody know how to do the watch party, if you're familiar with the watch party, make sure you tag us or comment below on how to do it, or send us the link if there's a link. If you have questions, comment below, but we're kind of going to get started. So we decided, okay, I guess people would randomly come up to us and just admiring our friendship and kind of who we are. And so we decided that we would do like a besties tell-all, a kind of how we met, who we are, the differences of who we are. So we have on shirts identifying the personality of who we are. So of course, she's the aggressive one. I'm the sensitive one. And so the hands kind of point to who's who. And so we'll get started. If you don't know who I am, my name is Sharice Nicole. And I was born in Orlando, Florida. I'm not from Jacksonville. I've been in Jacksonville about, how long have we been friends?
We've been friends since 2004.
So, yeah. So, let's say high school years, my high school, middle school years, my elementary school years, I was not here, kind of in and out of Jacksonville. And I just became a native here by staying here. I do love Duval. Right. But that's kind of who I am. I am a pharmacist by trade. I'm an ready, babe. I love the Lord, huh? I love everything God stands for, huh? So, first and foremost, I'm a child of the Most High King. So, I just want to put that out there. And I have a beautiful daughter. Her name is Madison. And 2 older siblings. For those that do not know, I do have 2 older brothers who I dearly, dearly love. And that is, in a nutshell, me. So, Shanny.
Yeah, so my name is Chantel. I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. Whoop whoop. Don't do that. I work for Baptist Hospital. I'm a supervisor there at Baptist Hospital by day, but I am a makeup artist and etiquette coach, and do some traveling with pageants and things of that nature after work hours. So I do a few things. So does she. She just didn't say it.
I didn't say it.
So I have siblings. Of course, you all know I have 4 siblings. I have 3 sisters and a brother. All my family live here. My mom, my dad, my siblings, and that's kind of me in a nutshell. I'm a Christian. Everybody know I love God. You know, God has done more for me than I ever expected. You don't love God?
What's wrong with you?
So yes, I do. I love God so much. He has done so much for me, with me, through me. So I love God. But I am excited about what we're getting ready to do. As she stated, a lot of people talk about our friendship, and they get to see the good parts of it, when we're smiling, when we're happy, when we love, when we love each other, and we always love each other, but sometimes we don't like each other. So I want us to kind of just give some of our story, and then I want to raise the question, do you really want to be like us? Do you really desire the friendship that we have, or would you want something better for your friendship? So that's kind of what we're here to do.
And I think that most people may not necessarily desire to be like us, as Fran would say, but maybe desire to have a friendship similar to it, or may not. I think most people kind of struggle with friendships because we don't give people room for error. Like, we don't give grace. And when people disappoint us, especially in female-female relationships, we generally walk away from our female relationships. I've been guilty of that before, and we don't necessarily put in the work. We'll put in the work with the guy that we love or the guy that we want, but when it comes to our friendships, like the girl that's gonna hold you down, she's been there, you're ride or die, like if that joker cheat on you, both of y'all in that around, looking for him. That's the friend you want, okay? That's the friend you want. And so I think that because that has been we randomly get asked those types of questions, like how do you guys stay true to yourselves individually and still have a healthy friendship? Let me tell you something. It ain't always been healthy. Okay? It ain't always been healthy. Listen, because we was young when we first became friends. I was married, she was single, and y'all, I'll never forget, because my husband at the time asked her for her phone number. And I was like, what you... And listen, let me tell you something. She gonna come up to me and she was like, listen, I just want you to know that he asked you for my phone number, and I just want to my phone number. I just want to make sure it's all right.
Because I don't play them kind of crackhead games.
So I was like, it's okay. And in essence, that was his personality. That was that's who he is still. A very friendly person. But nevertheless, I thought it was crazy that he did that, because that started a bond. We became friends by way of her sister. Both our sister, really, not by blood for me, but definitely by the Holy Spirit, because the Bible does say that we'll know a tree by the fruit that it bears. I won't go deep though.
She was about to.
Because I'm the preacher in the group.
She is. I'm okay with that.
Preach that good sin up out of you. But nevertheless, we started our friendship, I think more so out of need. Yeah, it was a needy friendship. Yeah. It wasn't necessarily healthy or something where we was like, hey girl, you gonna be my friend. I think we both needed something from each other at that time.
And I would say that something with her saying that we were needy, I don't even think that I was a good choice at that. Even with her saying she needed something, because I wasn't a good friend. Growing up, really tough. I've never denied it. Okay, I never denied it. But I wasn't a good friend. And that's why I tell people, who my friends who I have now that have kind of met me after my 30s, my late 20s into my 30s, they got the good version of me because she got the worst version. She got the worst version of me. But I will say that is why I love her. That is why I love her. That is why I will stick with her. That is why she will always be my sister friend, because she tolerated me when I was intolerable.
That's good.
And although she's saying there was something that she needed, I don't think that I brought very much to the table at that time.
Wow.
But she feels different. So I believe, again, it's all about perspective, but I definitely did need something from her, and she was able to give that to me.
Right. And I think that when it started, it was kind of, so I've always been very spiritual. So I have a cousin, my cousin Laretha, and my cousin Laretha, right now she's balanced, but when we were young, my cousin Terry, my cousin Laretha, my brothers, we was at church all the time. So I was sold out, really sold out. I'm still sold out for Christ. Don't get it twisted, but I had no balance. There was no balance. So when I met Chantel, the first time I encountered her, sister girl
had to do all of that.
Sister girl had on this, she had on a jean two-piece, right? The jacket, her and Keisha, the pants, baby, and then it had graffiti on it. Was colorful, so
it was fly.
So in walked Chantel around St. Paul. Now they already got an attitude because they didn't want to come to the church initially, because they were at Philippians. Don't get it twisted. Now we love St. Paul and I'll bust your head. Okay, I mean not like that, like in a Christian kind of bust your head. Well, y'all know what I mean. So anyway, so in walked Chantel, coming around to give offering. She has on. Did she have on the black one?
I had on the white one.
She had on the white one, and she had on everything. Baby, I was sitting in church like, who is this?
Baby, we were fly.
With all this bright stuff on. And so, nevertheless, like I said, that was my first encounter with her. But let me tell you what the crazy part is. We graduated from the same school. My mom pulled like a Trump move, so to speak. She wanted me to have a scholarship, so I was at Inglewood, and I was number 15 in my class, in the top 15. I want to say I'm making it bottom in case we got researchers out there. But anyway, I was in the top 15, and my mom was like, "You need a scholarship." And so she moved me to Lee, and at that time, Lee offered, and it still does, I believe. What is it? The dual enrollment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was able to do dual enrollment, come out with an AA degree. I graduated within the top 10 of my class. I got the Bright Future Scholarship. So your girl was doing all these great things. So my mom was like, "Let's move you to a school and bump you up." So we were at the same school. Sister girl was twerking in the band, band captain. Everybody know how Lee is. She was twerking in the band captain. And so when I would go to the games, I would see this girl, all this personality. Never thought about it until after we had met, and then one day we used to dance in the dance ministry under Miss Rhodesia, and she brought out all this creativity where we had flags, we had the tall flags, short flags, like any gift that you had, we did it, right? And so Chantel comes in with this short flag, and it instantly hit me. It's you! And so she tossed this flag. Now don't get it twisted. My friend used to get that leg in the air. She was going, what was that kick now? Kick up! And I was like, friend, you kick that leg in the sky. And so it was awesome. But nevertheless, I was saying something. So I'm the deep friend. So when I first met Chantel, I didn't expect for Chantel to have as much wisdom and knowledge that she did. And so talking one day, we were at her house. There was a situation that was going on. I think we were eating crabs. It was all a situation. Cause we were going to get garlic crabs and then eat Krispy Kreme afterwards. That was the what?
That's law.
Let me tell you something. Jesus.
Get some.
Get what? So we're sitting there and Chantel begins to talk. And I was like, she might know Jesus. This colorful young lady might know who Jesus is. So anyway, we just kind of connected and meshed and gelled from there. And though she said, I have to beg to differ because she said she didn't bring a lot to the table. So at that time, I was an emotionally needy person. Okay. For whatever reason, God had always blessed me material-wise. I won't say I've always had, but there, my mom made sure we didn't lack. Like we worked. I had been working since I was 11, so hustle and working and grinding and good work ethics and stuff has always been embedded into me. And so I didn't need money. I didn't need material things. I needed someone to be there, and it was. And I wasn't really an open person at that time, but her friendship really, her personality, right? So, Chantel, baby, if you ever seen this baby walk into the room, huh? When her hair is stuffed up, what? That glides in. So she's always had that air about her, that first lady, gotta call a spade, huh? She did. I don't do it, and still do. Had this air about her, and that attracted me to her because she conducted herself like a lady, and no, I did too. It was just something about her, and child, let me tell you, when that thing got set up, how God set it up, baby, we clubbed together Monday through Friday. We tore the club up. Do you hear me?
Monday through Friday.
What was it? Martini Mondays.
It was Bananas on Tuesday.
Bananas on Tuesday. Jim's Place on Wednesday. The pub, was it the pub on Thursday?
It was Skyline.
Skyline on Thursday.
It was the pub on Friday.
The pub on Friday.
They
watched the ride. Listen, but we was in church on Sunday. God did a new thing. He did that. Mm-hmm. So, I'm talking. You go.
So she was making a point, and she got off subject, and then she forgot. Is what you just saw happen here. So I'm kind of going to give a little background on us meeting and how I believe the friendship kind of came about.
Right.
I always say to friend or not to friend, right?
That's good.
Because she came into my life at a point where me and my siblings were at odds. So me and my siblings weren't seeing eye to eye. We were adults, we weren't living at home with our parents. We had, our own place, but we weren't getting along in our early 20s. And because we weren't getting along, I have a very strong personality, like she's already said. And when I don't like something, you will know that I don't like something no lies told, none. You will know that I don't like it, that I don't care for it, either by the way that I look or me just actually telling you that I don't like it, I don't care for it. But because my family is just like me saying that I don't like it or me showing them that I don't like it means absolutely nothing to them. So because of that, I needed an escape. And she provided that to me. And that's why I said I feel like I, took more than I gave, because she provided an escape for me, but I still subjected her to the same abuse that I did to my siblings. So I still managed her, still handled her just like I handled my siblings. And she's a new friend, and I treated her no different. So I said whatever, I did whatever. Now you said it was my turn.
Take my key.
Thanks. Thank you. All right. So I basically did whatever, said whatever, and she stayed my friend. So she had a lot of grace. God graced her to be my friend, because I was something else. Like I was still fighting in my 20s, like still physically putting my hands on people in my 20s, and she's real laid back, she's real cool, calm, she's real collected, and she would kind of try to level me out, and I would be, up here all the time. Up here all the time, and she would be like, no, and she would be like, we got houses, we got cars, we got mortgages, we can't go to jail, and I would always be like, my daddy gonna get me out, and to this day, Victor Bradley will come get me, okay?
Mr. Hitler coming,
she coming to get me. Now I don't act like that,
she don't.
I don't act like that now, but I do know that if anything ever happened, that my dad will come and get me. So whenever I was acting crazy, I would always say, call my daddy. I mean, as soon as the police get here, call my daddy so he can meet us downtown. So I was a mess. I was a mess mentally. I was a mess emotionally, and I wasn't seeking God about it. I was just allowing myself to be a mess.
Wow.
And God sent her, I believe, to my sister in order for me to meet her. And she pulled things out of me that I didn't know that I possessed, which brought me closer to God, because I was challenged in a way that I was not accustomed to.
That's good. Okay, go on. He'll do it. God, let me tell you, how God will give you flowers when you living, huh? Anyway, so I think we're saying that to say that we had to begin to identify, well, let me fix my lash, y'all. Hold on. Is that my hair? That's my hair.
It is.
Oh, get it out. That's it right now.
It should be out.
It's out. Okay, good. So we had to realize that, so when it's birthed in an unhealthy environment, eventually, the unhealthiness is gonna rise, and that's what happened. So, I can speak from she did. We would talk about each other, because you get fed up, baby. You be I'm so feel, and we would vent to other friends about it. We would, and y'all, that is called backbiting.
It is.
So for some of y'all, we was backbiting, and we I don't think we never really told each other's business, because Chantel has always been a very private person, and not private, but she's a confidant. So you tell her something,
That's it.
now, but she's not gonna lie though. So if you ask her a question, she'll tell you she's not at liberty to share it, because I should have feel what happened. Now you teeter-totter tonight, so she will correct me, because I can't feel my nose. I'm trying to get the tea. Like I feel like entertain me. What's going on? She's not that person. And so what was I saying? I was thinking it was to get Oh, so it started to become unhealthy, right? And so we would disrespect disregard each other's feelings. Like, I would know, you know, we would be petty towards each other. She ain't call me, I ain't calling her. You know, she ain't text me, I'm not texting her. And now, this is in our 20s, okay? In our 20s. Early 20s, right? And I'm married, she's single, and, you know, just petty stuff. But we were always there. Okay, we were always there. So anytime she needed something, I needed something, whatever, we were always there for each other. Oh, my earring coming out. Hold on, friend.
Maybe that's what hit the floor.
Maybe that's what hit the floor.
Leave it.
See, my friend, she helped me. Because I don't like my earrings tied on my ear. Thank you. So we, it started out, so it started, like I said, the unhealthiness started to rise. And so it got to a point where we had to take a break. Like, literally, I would say this. Outside forces started to come into our relationship that were not necessarily the best at making us talk to each other. Sometimes outside sources will come in your friendship, and even though they may be giving good advice, it's not the right advice.
Right.
I'm sorry, they may be giving the right advice, it's not the good advice. It's not good advice. It sounds good, but you have to know your friend. You have to know who you're dealing with, right? Mm-hmm. So we never addressed those things. We were too immature to, like I said, we was partying and turning up, birthdays in Miami. I'm talking about, you name it, all that, the classic, every November, walking around in heels. Lord, I can't do it. Lord,
I can't
do
do it.
my knees, my
do it.
feet, my hips, everything. And I'm still young, like I'm still young. Can get with the best of the 20s, huh? Anyway. So we know, you name it, we did it, and we hit a wall, a brick wall. I'm talking, it was thick, and we took a break. We were sitting in the car. I used to work for Florida Blue, and we were sitting in the car of the parking lot at Florida Blue having a conversation, and I said, I don't know. Children now, because you know the kids do this. The children like, I ain't your friend no more. And I said, I don't know if I want to be your friend anymore. And with tears in my eyes, and with tears in her eyes, she said, I still want you to be my friend, but I understand what I've done, and whatever you decide, I'm still here. We got me now.
Cause her mind made up.
Cause my mind made up. Okay, now I'm a made up mind kind of person. Yeah. When my mind is absolutely made up, I'll teeter-totter with you for a while. I go back and forth. I'll say something, take it back, say something, take it back. But when I finally make my mind up,
you're toast, buddy.
And so we're sitting in the car, my mind is made up, and I said, okay. And she gets out of her car, or she drops me off to my car, because my car was there. We get in the car, and the relationship is not the same. At that time, I was going through a divorce, so misery loves company, right? And we'll talk about that at another time, like the proper, how do you help your friend come out of something, even when you haven't been through that situation. Right. How do you help me through it? Right. And so we'll talk about that in another segment. But right now, this is just kind of like a fast forward version of our friendship.
Right.
And so we hit the wall. We have this conversation. I get out the car. She drives off. I drive off. And the friendship is not the same.
Right. So I'm going to go back just a little bit about that day, about that day.
Oh, yeah.
We were traveling to Daytona. We were going to support Alexis. She was Alexis Guns at the time now, Lady Alexis Cheatham. And she was in the 14K. It was their spring showcase. And out of all the years we had been friends, I had started to change. I was beginning to change. Like, I was kind of slowing down with my aggression. You know, I'm still aggressive, but it was worse than what it is now. I'm not sure if you all can even imagine that, but it was worse than what it is now. And so I was slowing down. I was trying to be nicer. Like I was trying to make a conscious decision.
She was trying to be sensitive, y'all. Just going to say she was trying to, you know, she was trying to come, she was trying, sister girl was trying.
Hell, listen, I grew up in a house where sensitivity got you ran over like a Mack truck. Okay?
Baby was trying,
So,
she was trying to be one with herself. Yeah. Don't do that.
so I was coming down, you know, off of my years of aggression and anger and frustration about things that was happening in my own life. And I was more sensitive to her because we had had conversations about how we treated one another.
Right.
And my thing was,
sis, you too sensitive.
okay? Everything I say is not meant to hurt your feelings.
Right.
Listen to me and listen to what I'm saying.
Listen to my heart.
Right.
And
Not
my
so
voice.
much what I'm saying out of my mouth.
Right.
So it would frustrate me because I'm like, I can't say, and I'm aggressive. Like even the way I'm talking right now, I'm aggressive. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why she didn't understand that I wasn't being aggressive to her. That I'm trying to tell her something. And she's like, you ain't got me. No, I'm trying to tell you something, and you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Right. I was listening to how she said it and not what she was saying. And I think that that's important in any relationship, right? If you're married, you know, female relationships, dating someone, whatever, that is important to listen to what they are saying, because two people they're raised right. Like she said, she was raised one way, I was raised another. And so sometimes now you don't let people talk to you. Let me tell you something. You don't let people talk to you any kind of way. You understand what I'm trying to say? There's a level of respect that you have for yourself.
Absolutely.
And we always kept that respect. I think that there was an expectation that we put on each other that was unfair.
Right.
And so when we started to, and someone is currently telling me this now about expectations, and as we begin to put those false expectations on people, it's a fallacy.
Right.
You get disappointed.
Right.
And so me expecting, I'm your friend, don't talk to me like that. That was not who she is. So now in our friendship, child, I don't care nothing about your relationship. Look at me.
So
I don't care.
that's what we got to. So
out of the break.
right.
Yeah.
So we had conversations about how we handle and manage one another, but because it was embedded in my personality, in what I consider my DNA, aggression is built into me. Then I was having a tough time, even when I was trying to be sensitive, it would still come out like I was trying to be condescending when I would say something. And I'm like, okay, so I'm trying it her way, and I still ain't right, so you finna get it the way that I want you to get it, which is like this. So we had conversations, so I knew something was wrong because I asked her to go because we hadn't done anything in a little while.
Right.
So I was like, hey, I'm going here. Do you want to ride with me? We ride to Daytona in silence. And as you can see, when we get together, it's always a good time. So we're always laughing, talking, we're listening to music, you know, all of that. We didn't do that. We literally rode in silence.
Right.
So I knew something was wrong.
Right.
I was just waiting for her to tell me what it was. Now, did I think she was going to try to break up with me? No. I did. I don't want to be I don't want to play this game anymore. Anyway, where you going? Okay. No, I didn't think that. But that was what the night kind of came down to. But I knew something saying? So I understood her silence
Right.
meant something, you know, because I know her. I know her as a person. I know her.
Right.
And so I knew something was wrong. I didn't think it was going to take her that long to say. You know, so
Right.
we're driving to Daytona. We get to Daytona. We go through the few hours of the showcase. We get back into the car, and then driving home, you know, she's talking, and like I said, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. So with her saying, you know, I don't want to be your friend anymore, and I'm like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, God, I was trying to change.
Right.
And in me trying to change, I would assume, since she's saying this, that it's too late. So all I could offer her was my friendship that she no longer desired, but I needed her to know that it was still available to her.
That's good. That's good. And so that, I mean, it was, and I didn't know what, I think I expected more, right, when I walked away, and she gave me what she could, and I got in the car. Like I said, the relationship it changed, right? But she was always there. She called me. She called me by anything. Yeah, I was there. Now we didn't talk all the time, and because of that, the calling and the following up, we just didn't do. And other friendships in my life started to develop, which I do have other, you know. Of course, both of us do.
Right.
We do have other best friends as well. But some of those friendships started to rekindle in the process. And I would talk to that friend about her. Still backbiting. Still not talking to her because I'm mad at her. And I want her to call me. But let me tell you something about it. Now, she's not fit to do all of that. She don't apologize. I'm not about to keep calling you. I told you how I felt. I told you I wanted to finish it, but I'm not going to sweat you now. I told you
That's not my personality.
so that's not who she is. Me, on the other hand, I called and cracked a little joke, check the temperature, beat around the bush. That ain't her. Listen, so nevertheless, the time had come. I was on my journey to become a pharmacist, and so there was a lapse in the friendship. We were still friends now. If birthday, celebration, and I'm not saying that we went like that long in between without talking to each other, but it was just, I was missing my friend. So let me tell you how God did. I did accept into pharmacy school, okay? I had this big old situation going on. My friends all had to pull together to help me, so I can get to what I needed to do, so to get to my purpose, which we didn't even scratch the surface of what God had to do. Just scratch off, smell a little scent on the little perfume, little sample. Okay, just a little sample. So anyway, and so I went off to pharmacy school, and during this time of being away, we don't talk. As a matter of fact, I wasn't talking to any of my friends like that. Pharmacy school and, the situation that had took place right before that had taken a great toll on me. I was depressed. Listen, God, what God are you talking about? Talking about that God I was worshiping last year? Like, he ain't did it this year. Like, I was done. And the crazy part about it is I was away. I still logged on to St. Paul just about every Sunday. Bitter with God, bitter. I was bitter with him. And I remember sitting it was really hard because there was not as much support as I would have liked. And it wasn't that people didn't desire it. Some people just didn't have. And I think God wanted it to be that way so that he could get the glory. Nevertheless, I was sitting in my apartment. I didn't have any lights, no groceries. And the roommate that I had at the time had moved out, left me with an astronomical rent amount, and I didn't have money to pay my rent. So I'm about to get evicted, possibly about to return home to Jacksonville from pharmacy school, which so many people were rooting for me, and it was just a lot. And I remember laying in my bed and God, I hear the Holy Spirit say, pray. Now, mind you, I ain't prayed to God. He ain't talking to you. I ain't got nothing to say. Because you see my situation, fix it, Jesus. So I'm laying in the bed and I just began to talk to God. At this point, I'm sobbing. I have no lights. I have no food. And I have not developed the friendships in pharmacy school that I needed to help me survive. And we'll talk about that in another segment about networking and developing those friendships. Because some friendships are seasonal. They're not lifetime. And you got to learn to be okay with seasonal friendships. And I went into this moment where the talking went to worship, praise. The praise went to worship. The worship went to tears. And I'm laying on in a cold, it's cold now. It was cold. And I'm laying on a cold floor, no heater. And it was just like, okay, this is it. And God began to speak to me about the error in my way, because you hear her talk about her. But I was not the best friend, okay? Emotional, sensitive, needy, possessive. This is my friend. She don't even have no other friends. This is my friend. And all of those things because of, she's aggressive, but her heart is, I got you. And she tried to give me all of those things, and she couldn't. And it's crazy because we recently had a conversation where she almost reverted back, because sometimes when you love somebody so much, you want to be everything that they need, and not understanding that that's not healthy. It's not a healthy friendship if you're trying to supply the needs. God supply our needs. You just the vessel. You can't be the vessel plus God plus the resource plus the water, the bread, the pork chop. You can't be that. You just gotta be the person that God needs you to be for that person in that season. And I got up and went to go talk to my landlord. So I'm gonna fast forward. God worked that situation out. My eviction notice was removed. They gave me some time. But they ain't cut my lights on now. My lights still went on. I had to wait until Pam released my school check. And my school check came like 4 days later, got my lights on. And I'm sitting there, I'm thanking God, because at this time, I'm like, okay, God, you saw me through, you brought me through. I had $6 in my account. Every day I ate a Wendy's $1 burger. That's how I survived in 4 days. Every day I ate a Wendy's. I never forget the $1 burger. I remember the junior bacon cheeseburger for $1 before they decided to give us fancy and take it up to $1.29. It's no longer when it was the dollar menu, then they're gonna change it to the value menu. Yeah, whatever. So I would eat that, and I was sitting there doing my hair, and the Lord said, "Send her." The Lord spoke to me about her. The Lord said, "Send her a text." And I text her what the Lord had said. And baby, it was on for that. This is like a year, maybe a year and some months of the break. It wasn't that long now. Because I told Emma, man, she died. I'm going to kill her. Yeah. If you die, I'm going to kill you. So, and that's just kind of where it went from there.
So I get the text message from her. And I believe it was day. I remember it was daytime, and I was dealing with something emotionally. I'm a thinker, so everything that happens with me, or regarding me, surrounding me, you'll never know unless you know me, because I keep it here, right? So sometimes you can look at me and tell that I'm thinking, or something is on my mind, or something has weighed me down. And that's kind of where I was when she sent me the text message, kind of sorting through some things. And it was super duper unexpected, because it was super duper unexpected. I was like, wow, double fold, because wow, you text me, but wow, God gave you something to give to me when we weren't really like that anymore, because I hadn't gotten a text message as it relates to what God had said to her on my behalf. Right? It was a kind of like a check-in. Hey, I'm breathing. You breathing? All right, as long as you breathing, we good. Right. We'll take another, break. So there was no real conversation. So this was like the first time that I in myself felt like, okay, she cares, she'll possibly come back around, right? So deal with that moment. I'm not even sure how many times she had traveled back and forth to Jacksonville before then, but we were talking via text. I think she mentioned that she was going to be coming back into town to see her daughter, and that we could possibly get together then. So I want to say when she came back into town, she spent some time with her. I want to say it was just something. I want to say it was like Vaughn or somebody had a party.
I think Vaughn or somebody. And y'all will meet them. Vaughn and Chief, they're another set of best friends. And so we're going to have them come on with us. But yes, my friend Vaughn, she don't do this no more because she been delivered too. See how God deliver all the sinners?
All of them.
But she used to throw these parties.
Yeah, so she came into town, and Vaughn threw a party, so we all went to Vaughn's house, and I got to see her, right? So in a setting with all of, we're called the girls, right? That particular group is called the girls. So with all of us in a room together, it's a great time, but still no real connection in that moment as it relates to her and I.
Right.
It was just a moment with the girls, and because we are included in the girls, we're having a good time with the girls. So amongst the camaraderie, we're having a good time as a whole. You're no, you know, I y'all. She called her Amy.
She's trying to hold herself.
She's trying to hold herself without. She's so aggravated. So in the midst of that happening, there was still no one-on-one with her and I. There was still no pulling to the side, separating ourselves to have a conversation to catch up. And I'm not even sure if it was pride in that moment. I think for me, because my hands never closed to her, I was waiting for her in a sense to almost embrace me.
Right.
So she went back home, and I believe that we still talked, but there was still no real conversation until her birthday came up.
When my birthday came up, I'm finna cry.
Don't cry. Don't cry.
So a lot had happened, and I just wanted my friend back. And sometimes when people say, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere, they only mean that as long as you are extending your hand to them. But not her. When I decided to get myself together, hold on.
Excuse me, y'all.
Let me get myself together. Oh, God. So, anyway, sometimes when people say you can come back or I'm always here, they don't necessarily, they only mean it when it's convenient to them, or as long as they're kind of like mushy or you know, they're feeling you. But not Chantel. It was just like the connection came, and y'all, it's just been, that's it. Now, don't get me wrong. She make me upset. You understand me? And but she was there. And if I called her, I don't care if she needed tires or change, she got on that road and she came to Tallahassee. Her and a group of my friends, they visited me a couple times while I was there, and that meant a lot. Because and I love my family. This is not to negate my family and how much they love me, because I have a great shout out to my people.
Absolutely.
Shout out to my people.
Absolutely.
But I have a great family. But even when my family didn't know, because I didn't tell them, they didn't come, my friends came. And I never forget, I was having a party. And it was a fraternity party. I'm a part of an organization called Kappa Epsilon, which is a women in pharmacy fraternity. And so we pledge. Y'all know how HBCUs do. Every fraternity, sorority, you got to get hazed and pledged and stuff. So, oh, that's okay. I call them. I should put it on Do Not Disturb. Did it go back to it or stop recording?
It's still recording.
Okay. I should have put it on Do Not Disturb. So anyway, and that's my daughter. She gonna call me right back. Lord Jesus. Anyway, so she comes down to Jacksonville, and to Tallahassee, because I called her. I said, please come. And she comes, and matter of fact, I didn't say please come. I said, listen, I got such and such going on. Can you come? She said, yep, I'm gonna come. Same day, put her clothes on, came down there. One day now, went to the party with me, and we ended the party late. And she got back on the road and went on because she had to serve on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. She had to be in church on Sunday. And the Lord began to restore I didn't need her to do that because I knew that she would always be there, but I took it for granted is what I'm saying. And we just, listen, from that, I won't say from that point on, because like I said, that year and a half was kind of like rocky, but man, we, two peas in the pod. Like, and what you see is not forced. It's authentic. It's not like she can be who she need to be, and I can be who I need to be, and it's okay. I used to, because we recently had a conversation, and we all at BB's crying at the people table. BJ's crying at the people table. Because of me always, I'm the friend where I'm gonna call her and say, God said. Let me tell you what God said. God said. God said. That's me. Because I can be real spiritual, no earthly good sometimes. Sometimes I can. And I called her. God had showed me some things, but what God had showed me, I needed to hear from her. Because, like I said, she loves me, and I love her too. But ain't even no but. I think both of us are willing to put ourselves in situations that can land both of us in the same cell on the same day, in the same appointed hour, during the same amount of time. But it was, sometimes you have to let people know that it's okay to say no. It's okay to, especially when it's uncomfortable. And we were getting back to a place to where the neediness was coming. And we had to establish that if you can't do it, you just can't do it. If you can't be there, you just can't be there. And as your friend and someone that says they love you, I should be able to support you and not feel jealous, not feel this way, this type of way. And I was starting to feel that kind of way. And I did not know how to tell her and have conversations with her to let her know how I felt. And eventually I had the conversation. And it was a tough conversation. And some of the things I think we expect from our friends, it's not that they don't want to do it. Sometimes they just don't know to do it. Like, one of the things we talked about, if I could share just one thing, okay. One of the things we talked about is my expectation, like on birthdays. Mm-hmm. I would really be like, friend, I go all out for you. And And Chantel is sitting there like, her nonchalantness now. The stuff that'll make you want to jump up. She's like, blinking her lashes. I don't agree with that. I just don't agree with that. So she was like, well, that's your story. That's your reality. So those are your feelings. That's your perspective. That's your reality. That's your reality. That's your perspective. So in my mind, that's perspective. And that's the truth. But the truth of the matter is, when we expect you from other people, and we hear this all the time, it sets you up for disappointment. But here is the thing that I think we both were listening to a sermon by Bishop T.D. Jakes, and he said this. He said, sometimes when someone does something, when we analyze it, we say, well, if I was them and I would have did that, this is what it would have meant. Right. So because this is what it means, this is what it would mean if I did it, then that's what it meant. Right. When she did it. Right. And that's not the case. The love was still there. Everything was still there. The will to do it, the heart to do it. I'm just expecting what I do. And so that's not her. She don't decorate.
Okay, thank you. Let's stop that. So this is the deal. She's skirting around it. So since she want to talk about it, we're gonna talk about it. Now, friend is a hardcore decorator. Okay, so I can dress. I can decorate. I can do little things. Right? If I see it, I can do. If you show it to me, I can knock a task out. Right? But when it comes to decorating things from scratch, no particular format, nothing about it, I need some assistance, I need some guidance. So she'll deck out something. I mean, she will deck out something. I'm absolutely grateful. That's who she is.
Right.
That's the way that her mind functions. That's the way that her mind works, right? Me, I'm saying, I'm here, I'm doing it, I am to the best of my ability.
Fist bumps.
To the best of my ability. And when she said it, in my mind, it was like, dang, that ain't even good enough. But what I had to do was throw down what I thought she was saying and listen to her. Right? Listen to her. I had to listen to her because what she's saying is, I do it to this standard, to this magnitude, and I feel like when it's reciprocated, it is done to this level, it is done to this standard and this magnitude. That is what I heard. Right? So that's what I felt like that moment was. So I had to sit aside how I felt in that moment and literally hear her out from her heart. And you'll see me do this a lot because
sometimes if she do that, she being aggressive.
It's not shut up. It's not so much about what people saying out of their mouths. I think sometimes we have to kind of get past it. No, we don't want people talking to us any kind of way. But if they're trying to articulate something in the moment and they don't know how, and that's the best that they can do, sometimes you have to take it. So in that moment, I was forced to listen to her heart and not so much what was coming out of her mouth, because y'all, she was pissed.
I was out and talking all loud in the people place going. And the people looking at us, we don't care. Mind your business. Worry about yourself. Worry about yourself.
That's what she was doing.
So
that was the thing. So what I said was, I gotta practice. So I'm not a decorator, but there are some things that I can do, and that is what I'll do.
And I think that friendship, and we'll say this because I know we're running long, so we'll wrap up for those that's still a part of the call if you're still watching us, but you have to have the willingness to make the adjustments. I mean, someone told me recently that, they're not just there yet. I don't want to make the adjustments. That's not something that I'm wanting to do right now. Or, do what's needed to make it, to be a part, to have this part of the relationship. Right. And sometimes you have to be okay with that. But then if you want to have the friendship that you truly desire, now this is if you desire it. There's a difference. If you desire it, you have to be willing to make the adjustments. You have to be willing to set aside your feelings, your thoughts, your way of doing it, and see it from the other person's perspective. Right. It doesn't, like I said, especially with women, we will bust our backs for our men.
Yes, we will.
When it comes to our homegirls, the moment she do something we don't like, we're not talking to her. We're not trying to rationalize it, fill it out, anything like that. But we've been over backwards for the men in our lives. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't. You absolutely should, and with balance, right? If that's your husband, you need to be doing what thus says the Lord, honey, in all aspects. Understand? What now? Good ministry. But nevertheless, when it comes to your friendships are still ministry too. Yes. And the Bible declares that in most cases, a friend sticketh closer than a brother. And sometimes those are God-ordained relationships to help you, and they fill in the gap where your blood family is not able to. Right. And it's okay. And communication is what really helps. You can't be afraid to say how you feel, and you gotta be able to receive it. So when I had that conversation with Chantel, I ain't going it ready to receive what she was about to say, but then Sis said something.
She was trying to dump me again. Y'all. That's what she was trying to do. And what was finna happen was I was finna meet her outside of BJ's. It was finna be a problem.
So I told, and honestly, I wouldn't, at this point, we stuck together. At this point, I cannot walk away from my friendship. And let me look out because I was looking up, Chantel was doing something, so that it seemed unrealistic. But when something is ordained and there is an assignment, you don't walk away. This is a death do us part, okay? When she get married, it's us three, okay? Us four. You know what I'm saying? When I get married, it's all us four, okay? We work it out. But no, seriously, it's about that. And she ain't used to going to make them. Neither did I. But now, we say something, hey, friend, that really bothered me. The adjustment is made instantly. Immediately, because that's how much I care and I love her. So in that moment, it was a tough conversation to have. What I feel like God has been doing as it relates to me, when it comes to relationships, is He has been making me more aware, or be made more aware of how I make others feel, because I'm not a super emotional person, right? Now, people who see me in church will be like, what? She's super emotional. When it comes to God, I'm a disaster, okay? Lamp is falling off.
I'm a disaster. God will make a fool of me. He can make a fool of me anytime He wants to. Yes. So when it comes to that, I'm open, right? I love God. So whatever God needs me to do, whatever He needs from me, roll over, fall out, spit up, all of that, I'm gonna do it all for God. But when it comes to, other things, I'm not super emotional and I'm not super sensitive. So sometimes, even if she is saying something to try to hurt my feelings, it's not gonna hurt my feelings because I've heard worse, right?
I be throwing little pebbles, right?
And I'm like, okay, but sitting in that moment with her that day, I understood what was happening. So this year, I've had to have multiple conversations with people about how I've made them feel. And I don't even think I said it to her. After she and I had a conversation, I drove home, y'all, I was crying like a baby. I was so hurt because I was like, I'm trying to do this, and people keep telling me I'm doing it wrong. Like, where is the script for how to be a good sister, for how to be a good friend, for how to be a good daughter? I'm winging it, and I felt like I was failing. But that was not the intent of the conversation. But because I had multiple conversations and they went that way, almost like you do this, but you also do this. That was not the intent of the conversation. I love you. That was not the intent of the conversation.
Right.
But when you recently had one of those, that's how it feels.
Right.
So I had to say, it's not a personal attack against me.
Right.
This is someone saying, I love you enough to have a conversation with you.
Right.
To make you aware so that you can fix it.
Right.
But she wasn't so open at the beginning, like she said, to hear me out. But as I began to speak, even in that moment, she began to cry.
Right.
Because you come in thinking, I'm going to lay all this out. Like, I'm going to come in here and lay down the law.
What, baby? I'm about to lay it down.
Right? She coming in and laying down the law. And in my mind, cool, I'm going to take it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take it.
As she does.
And
she take it. She's like, let me process it.
Let me process it.
That's what she said.
Right?
Process
because what I know about me is if I speak out of term.
Baby, she going, what? Listen.
I'm speaking out of term. I'm going to make it count.
She going to make it count. What? She going to make it count. Yes. What? You going to be like, you talking to me like,
I'll make it count. So most cases, when I love someone and I care about them, in a moment where I do feel backed into a corner, I won't speak.
Yeah.
If I don't care nothing about you, try it. That's all I'm gonna say. But because I love her, and because I love my family, and I have these conversations with them to make me better, right? To make me better for where I'm going. These are tough conversations to have, but they're necessary.
They're necessary.
So with her saying what she was saying, and I'm not going to share until we feel like we need to share the conversation in its entirety. With her saying, change this. Right. You know, you can adjust this, you can adjust that. And then me being able to say to her, I understand what you're saying. I could have been different. I could have done it different. I could have been better. I could have. But now that there is a standard created, there was a conversation had, I am made aware, then I am held accountable moving forward because there was a conversation.
So, we have if there's a storm, the typhoons, the hurricanes, the tornadoes, tsunamis, snowstorm, this friendship has been in all of them. But what remains constant is our faith.
Absolutely.
We, like I said, when we started this, we truly love God. And you can't have good, healthy relationship if God is not the center.
Right.
And one thing we do is we make God the center. Like from day one, when we would eat crabs, we be talking about God, praying, speaking in tongues, laying each other out. But God has always been the center. We have always went to God in prayer about each other. And she knows when I'm off, let me tell you, when I'm off and I'm walking around, I hate when she do this. She do it. She be staring at me, looking at me, trying to see what she doing. Because she always something not right. Me, I'm trying to avoid eye contact because you know something is wrong. And not wrong with her. It's just sometimes, I have to process things. And when I process it, I tell her and she'll say if it's wrong, because sometimes I'm left the outer field. She'll reel me back in, but that's a part of it. You know what I mean? And that Christ bond, I'm telling you, is what keeps us connected.
Absolutely.
The honesty, and we're being honest with you all. The honesty that we lack, and let me tell you, honesty is not something that you do once. Right. It's consistently constant, honest, being in a constant, honest state. Okay. You may have a conversation about the situation with somebody, but at the end of the day, you got to have the conversation with them, okay? And you have to make it very clear about who you're talking to, that I want your input, but tread lightly. I mean, thin ice, but I want to get your advice. I mean, thin. And seeking that advice, you got to take it to the source. You know what I mean? And
you have to.
I'm telling you, it's not perfect. Our relationship is not perfect, but what it is God. Right. Above everything else, this is a God relationship. And if you guys have questions, I think we have talked a long time, more than we intended to.
But
for those that are on the live, if you have questions about friendship, we'll stay on maybe for another 3 or 4 minutes to see if questions start rolling in. If not, we are going to upload clips of this. So if you were on the live, I don't know. Should we upload it? We don't know. We don't know.
Maybe we'll upload it for like an hour and take it down.
Maybe we'll keep it up for a while and take it down. But this is not something we're starting and then finishing. I mean, this is not a start and finish day. This is a start and a continuation because it has been spoken to us that God is going to do something mighty. Oh, I forgot to mention something. I'm a stylist. And
at the beginning. Y'all see that I deal with?
I'm a stylist. She's a makeup artist. So these beautiful faces that you see was beat to the parts by Chantel. She is a CEO. We never even said what we was. Lord Jesus, thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. I mean, not that we're modest, but we ain't that modest, huh? But she's the CEO of the Total Woman Consulting Agency, makeup artist, pageant. What she talking about her? I never really, like to really say a lot about.
She don't like to talk about herself.
I don't like to talk about myself like that. But I'm a stylist here in Jacksonville. I love to make women look good, feel good, all that good stuff. And what was I feeling? I was going with that.
You was giving yourself a plug.
I was. For the style, that's it. And my company called the Style Agency. I forgot. Okay, but we're on here. Anybody have any questions? I think Chantel, you might want to get your phone because our vision ain't that good.
It's not.
How many on the live? Nobody. They done jumped off.
They still on now.
They still on there. Oh, y'all still on there?
Somebody tell me I missed so much. Sateria, get on here talking about she missed so much. They said keep the live.
Keep the live?
Yes, they're saying keep the live.
Okay, keep the live. Okay. She checking it because we new to this. Friend the phone. Hold up stick. Because when you scroll it, can you see the comments on your phone? You can't see the comments. Y'all, we learning, okay?
We are. A lot of people stopped through though.
They stopped through. Oh, good.
They did.
Good. So, anybody have questions though? While Chantel is standing over there, she's going through the phone.
Yeah, if you have any, we can answer.
If you have any questions, you can ask.
Sateria might keep the live. Period.
It's a long live, and people don't like long lives. They like 15 minutes. But listen, this live is a process, just like friendships and relationships. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. And I'm learning that myself. I only had one serious relationship in my life outside of my friendship, and that was my marriage. And I was married for 10 years and have been single since. So, about 5 or 6 years. So, still single. And, it's a process. Singlehood is a process. Well, both of us single. Mm-hmm.
Is
both of us single. But if you have questions, please ask the questions before we.
Really, Toya?
What Toya saying?
This was very long.
It was very long. We didn't intend to go that long.
We didn't.
We didn't.
Okay, so it doesn't look like any questions.
No
we
questions.
have 14. We still have 14 people
We still
viewing.
have 14 people viewing. Okay.
But we don't have any questions on here, so we can go ahead and wrap it up.
So we're gonna wrap it up.
So we will say thank you.
Thank you.
We're
gonna come up with a slogan too.
for tuning in. Absolutely. But the reason that we again are doing this is because a lot of people talk about our friendship, and they're only able to see the good parts of the friendship. But I think people need to know that any good friendship has, ups and downs, just like any good relationship does, any good marriage. And we're people, we're human, so we make mistakes, but it is a choice. We choose to remain friends. We choose to not allow the woes of life or even of friendship to tear us apart. It is a choice, and as long as you choose the other person, there is a future there.
There's a future there. So I know you guys don't have any questions, but that's all we have. So like it, share it.
Absolutely.
Okay, share this. Tag someone as you go through and you watch it. Tag someone that it could benefit. Maybe you have a friend and you guys are kind of in and out, and maybe you want to rekindle that friendship. We pray that this is used to help women, even men, reconnect with people who, listen, the enemy will try to destroy that relationship any way that he can when he knows that relationship is going to edify and build up the kingdom of God.
Right.
So this is a God relationship, and what we're doing this now, but it's ministry, and we're going to get into some heavy things in hopes that people will be blessed. So that's all that we have. We love y'all. Bye. 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 Period.
Really?